In 1979, the Detroit Lions were rock bottom. 2 wins, 14 losses, and a fan base that had completely lost hope. But 1 year later, everything changed. With the first pick in the 1980 NFL Draft, Detroit chose a soft-spoken running back from Oklahoma, a man whose legs carried the weight of an entire franchise. His name was Billy Sims. Before Barry Sanders electrified the Motor City, it was Billy who brought the roar back to Detroit. He didn't just play football. He revived a dying team, turned a losing culture into a winning one, and made the Lions relevant again. But just as fast as he rose, everything came crashing down. An injury would end his career in an instant. And what followed was even harder. Bad business deals, financial ruin, and a forgotten legacy. This is the story of Billy Sims, the Detroit Lions legend who had it all and lost it all. Before Billy Sims ever set foot on an NFL field, his story had already been one of struggle and survival. Born in St. Louis, Missouri, and raised in Hooks, Texas, Billy's childhood was far from easy. His father was absent, and his mother couldn't provide stable care. So it was his grandmother, Mama Bernice, who stepped in, the kind of woman who believed in hard work and prayer more than anything else. Football wasn't even on his radar at first. Billy didn't start playing until high school, and even then, he was raw, fast, yes, but unpolished. Still, once he had the ball in his hands, something clicked. By his senior year, he rushed for over 7,700 yards, setting records across Texas and catching the attention of college scouts nationwide. He chose Oklahoma, joining one of the most dominant programs in the country under legendary coach Barry Switzer. But success didn't come easy. Sims spent his first 2 seasons battling injuries, barely seeing the field. Many wrote him off as another high school prodigy who couldn't handle the college game. Then came 1978. Fully healthy and hungry to prove himself, Billy Sims exploded. He rushed for 1,762 yards, scored 20 touchdowns, and carried Oklahoma to an 11-1 season. That year, he became the first Sooner ever to win the Heisman Trophy, cementing his name among college football greats. The next season, he was just as dominant, finishing second in the Heisman race, barely losing to Charles White of USC. But the NFL was already watching. Scouts saw the perfect mix of speed, balance, and raw power. A man who could bulldoze through defenders, yet glide across the field like a sprinter. By 1980, Billy Sims wasn't just a top prospect. He was the hope of a broken franchise. And that franchise was ready to hand him the keys. When Billy Sims arrived in Detroit, the city was desperate for a miracle. The Lions had just finished their worst season in over 3 decades, going 2-14. The fans were tired, the stadium half empty, and the team's reputation was in ruins. But Billy, he wasn't intimidated. He was smiling, calm, and confident. At the 1980 NFL Draft, the Detroit Lions used the #1 overall pick to select the reigning Heisman Trophy winner from Oklahoma. Instantly, hope was reborn. Head coach Monty Clark even told reporters, "We're not a 2-win football team anymore. We're going to open some eyes this year." Still, many doubted Sims. He hadn't been a flashy talker. Some said he didn't even look that impressive in the preseason. But the moment the regular season began, Billy silenced everyone. Week 1 versus the LA Rams. The Lions, who were expected to get blown out, stunned the league. Billy exploded for 153 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns, including a breathtaking 41-yard run that left defenders frozen. He didn't just score. He danced into the end zone, high-stepping with confidence the city hadn't seen in years. Detroit won 41-20, and overnight, Billy Sims fever swept across Michigan. Week after week, he kept proving it wasn't luck. Against Green Bay, he broke an 87-yard touchdown, outrunning defenders who had perfect angles. Against Minnesota, he shredded the defense for another 100-plus yard game, showing his signature mix of power and grace. By midseason, the Lions were 3-0, their best start in a decade. By the end of the year, they had gone from 2-14 to 9-7, their first winning record since 1972. Sims was named Offensive Rookie of the Year, rushed for over 1,300 yards, and led the league in touchdowns. He didn't just revive Detroit's offense, he revived the franchise itself. For a city long mocked by the rest of the league, Billy Sims became something bigger than a player. He was the heartbeat of hope. After a rookie season that electrified the entire city, expectations for Billy Sims were sky high, and he didn't disappoint. The 1981 season started rough for Detroit. The team battled inconsistency, and injuries piled up. But through it all, Billy remained the bright spot. He powered through defenses, posting another 400-yard season, and proving he wasn't just a one-year wonder. Every time the Lions needed a big play, the ball went to number 20, and he delivered. But it was 1983 when Sims truly hit his peak. That year, he was unstoppable, a mix of raw power and artistry on the field. His highlight reel that season looked like something out of a video game. In one game against the Houston Oilers, Billy pulled off one of the most iconic runs in Lions history, leaping into the air and striking a defender in the helmet with his foot mid-run. The crowd went insane. Commentators couldn't believe what they'd just seen. From that moment on, fans started calling him Kung Fu Billy Sims. Despite missing 3 games that year with injuries, he still rushed for over 1,000 yards, scored 11 touchdowns, and carried the Lions to a 9-7 record and a playoff berth. Then came the divisional round against the San Francisco 49 ERs, the dynasty led by Joe Montana. Sims was the best player on the field that day, torching one of the toughest defenses in football for 114 yards and 2 touchdowns. The Lions were inches away from the upset, until a 44-yard field goal missed wide. Detroit lost 24-23, and fans were left heartbroken. Even in defeat, Billy had proven something powerful, that the Lions could go toe-to-toe with the NFL's elite. He had dragged Detroit from the league's basement to the playoff spotlight. And for once, the Lions looked like contenders. But no one knew it then. 1983 would be Billy Sims' last full season in the NFL. The fall was coming, and it would be brutal. By the start of 1984, Billy Sims was still at the top of his game. He was 29 years old, healthy, and averaging 86 yards per game. The Lions weren't perfect sitting at 3-4, but they believed they could turn things around, as long as number 20 stayed on the field. Then came October 21st, 1984, against the Minnesota Vikings. Early in the game, Sims broke the franchise rushing record on his first carry, another milestone in what looked like a Hall of Fame career. But just minutes later, everything changed. He took a handoff, made a sharp cut upfield, a move he'd done hundreds of times before. But this time, his right foot stuck in the artificial turf. A Vikings defender hit him high, and his leg twisted violently. Sims crumpled to the ground, screaming in pain. It wasn't just a sprain. His knee was destroyed. Torn ligaments, severe structural damage. At first he told reporters he'd be back. Just a sprain, he said with a smile. But deep down, the truth was grim. 2 years of rehab followed, countless hours in the gym, endless therapy. Yet his leg never fully recovered. The turf injury had taken away his explosiveness, the very thing that made Billy Sims. Billy Sims. He tried one final comeback attempt in 1986, but doctors advised him to stop. If he played again, they warned, he could lose his leg. Reluctantly, he walked away from the game. Not with a farewell tour, not with fanfare, just silence. In only 60 NFL games, Billy Sims had scored 47 touchdowns and rushed for over 5,100 yards. Statistically, he ranks among the most efficient running backs in league history, even surpassing some Hall of Famers in yards per game. But his story was never about numbers. It was about what could have been. Life after football wasn't easy. The fame, the endorsements, the big contracts, they all faded quickly. Sims invested in car dealerships and restaurants, but bad business decisions and poor financial advice left him bankrupt by the early 90s. There were moments where he hit rock bottom, struggling to pay bills, trying to rebuild a life without the spotlight. But Billy Sims wasn't built to quit. He returned to his roots, opened Billy Sims Barbecue, and slowly rebuilt his name as a businessman and mentor. Today, his restaurants operate across multiple states, and his story is taught as a lesson, not about how fame fades, but how resilience endures. For Detroit, Billy Sims will always be more than a player. He was the man who gave the Lions hope when they needed it most. The spark before Barry Sanders, the legend who made fans believe again. He might have lost his career early, but he never lost his spirit. And in Detroit, that's what makes him unforgettable. Billy Sims may not have a Hall of Fame bust, but his story is etched deep in Detroit's soul. He turned a 2-14 disaster into a playoff team, gave fans something to believe in, and proved that heart can outshine even the toughest odds. If you enjoyed this story of grit, glory, and heartbreak, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more forgotten legends who changed the game.